I do things that irritate my wife. I keep on breathing. Get little sympathy. I had a sore throat last week and she said, slash it. Took her to Fleetwood for a few days. She lost 2 stone swimming. I don't know how. I tied them on firm enough. He got married in the swinging 60s. That was a great era, the 60s. You used to hear expressions you don't hear much of nowadays, like groovy, trendy, fab and job. Never forget going to see the vicar. I said, we're hip, man, we're a swinging couple, you know. We have no objections to us having sex before marriage. He said, oh, no, he said, not as long as it doesn't keep the congregation waiting.
But I've married a woman that if you get one over on her, she's got to be nasty back. No, evil. Make you feel totally inadequate. I was making love to her. I said, did I hurt you? She said, no, why? I said, you move. She said, yes, I was trying on a pair of slippers I bought on Tuesday.
It's amazing, you know, a fella there, he's watching the television and he's watching that Pamela Anderson on that Baywatch. And his wife came in and said, look at you lurching over there. What is she going to be like if she hadn't had liposuction, false boobs, cap teeth? What would she look like? He said, you.
It's nice to see all the happy married people in here tonight. I was a bit late for the show because I lost the tin opener. I do my own cooking these days. Single man now. 23 years of married life down the pan. I realise now what I should have done 24 years ago. I should have found a woman I didn't like and bought her a house. Would have saved a lot of messing about afterwards.
My first wife, she came from Wales. Well, she fell off the flag. She had a black belt in cooking. One chop and you're dead. One Sunday I said to her, will you make me a rhubarb pie for after the Sunday dinner? She made one. It were a foot long and inch thick. She ran away with my best friend, whoever he is. My second wife, the trouble started on the wedding day. She wanted to be on the photographs. On the photographs. I can't believe it. I said to her, listen, if you want to be on the photographs, you can be, but I want the darts team on.
And I'm a bit disappointed tonight. I wanted to bring my wife here with me, but she's not ill. She's just knackered, you know, because we don't go out very often, thank God. But, well, we went out last night, big mistake, went out had a nice meal, Indian meal. Then we went to watch a nice film, Elephant Man. And, well, we never got into late. She was in the foyer for 2 hours signing autographs. But I'm not saying my wife's fat, right, but wherever you go in the house, she's next to you. Tried to climb over her in bed last night and burnt me behind on the light. And hey, what an idiot. You know the first night us lads take you girls out, we try hard to impress, don't we, lads? Best suit on, shirt, tie, smell of aftershave, big wad of notes, taxi in the front door, money's no object, I done all that. Took her to a big posh restaurant, pulled a chair out for her, sat her down and I give her the menu. I said to her, do you like scampi? She said, I like all them Disney films.
I got in the other night, the wife was waiting for us. You know, I knew I was in trouble because I got the dressing gown tugging contest. I've had enough of this. But it was more serious this time. Oh, because I got the bra strap and the pigeon's head as well. I'm sick of this. She said, what would you think if I told you I was having an affair with your best friend? I said, I think you're a lesbian. And we've got 4 wonderful children. There was nothing the other time we did it. And the youngest one dragged me to Blackpool, November, for the last few days of the hallucinations. And there's a ride called the Pepsi Max, the big one. Now, it's all right for the young people, but our age group, don't go on it. It's frightening. I went on. I didn't know that my anal glands had claws until we went down the slope. Because I'm trying to be a modern parent. Trying to be a modern... That's what it's about. I've read about it in Woman's Realm. And, like, teachers... Imagine being a teacher nowadays. It's awful, you know. A friend of mine teaches 5s and 6-year-olds. She's got a new class. You know, what does your daddy do? My daddy's an optician. Now, optician, boys and girls, anybody that needs glasses, wears contact lenses, his daddy makes them and fits them. An optician, very nice. Listen, and what does your daddy do? My daddy's dead. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realise, yes, I mean, but what did Daddy do before he died? He said, well, just sort of coughed and then rolled his eyes.
New York, Hilton Hotel, very posh. Who should come out the New York Hilton but the Pope? The man himself walked down the red carpet, stopped halfway, looked right and left. No sign of Sinead O'Connor, so he carried on. She's had nits. Either that or her hairdresser's got Parkinson's disease. And the Pope walked down the red carpet and he got in one of those yellow cabs that they have in America. The taxi driver, he was overawed. He said, "Your Holiness, can I help you?" He said, "I've got to get to the airport." He said, "It's rush hour, you've got no chance." The Pope said, "It's an international emergency." He said, "If you get me there, I'll give you $1,000 backhander." He says, "I've got 2 speeding violations. If I get a third one, I'll lose my cab." The Pope said, "I understand, my son." He said, "I'll tell you what I'm going to do." He said, "I'll still give you the $1,000. Let me drive." 2 minutes from the airport and a speed cop pulls them up. Being a good Catholic boy, he does not believe who's sat in this taxi. Straight on the radio to headquarters. He said, "Captain, what would happen if you stopped somebody for a speeding violation who's very, very, very important?" And the captain said, over the radio, "Are they more important than I am?" He said, "Definitely." He said, "Are they more important than the chief of police?" He said, "Double, pal, double." He said, "Are they more important than the mayor of New York City?" He said, "Captain, this lad's so important, the bloody Pope's driving him around."
You may think I'm soft, but the first time I've ever recently been to a strip show, never been before in my life. And about 4 strippers on, the last one was a big blackbird. Well, that'd be rubbish, wouldn't it, taking feathers off. A big black woman, she got like a leather mask on, fishnet tights, high heels. Let me tell you, lads, her lungs were hanging out. And she was cavorting on the stage, and she was taunting me with this leash like that in front of my face. And then she threw me the leash. She went, "You want to whip it?" I said, "I wouldn't mind." And I've got this small greyhound to look after. Feel cheated.
I went across the farmyard and a weird thing happened. I saw this pig with a wooden leg. I said to the farmer, "Why has that pig got a wooden leg?" He says, "That pig is not just a pig, it's a special pig. 6 months ago, my lad Jonathan was playing in the dike and he slipped and fell in the dike. He was just about to drown, but the pig sensed it and he ran across the farmyard and pulled Jonathan out of it. I can't believe it. He saved his life." He says, "That pig there." He says, "But why has it got a wooden leg?" He says, "That pig there, 3 months ago, my wife was coming back from the shop. She was loaded up with shopping and she didn't see a lorry coming down the road. And she was going to get run over. The pig sensed it, run across the farmyard, knocked her out of the way, saved her, that pig there." He says, "Well, that's all well and good, but why has it got a wooden leg?" He says, "You don't eat a pig like that all at once."
These 3 lads, they went to Rome because the Pope was doing one of his healing do's, you know what he meant. They stood on Vatican Square like that, and the Pope came down. He said to the first lad, "And what's the matter with you, my son?" "Oh," he said, "what it look got? I'm a welder, you see." "Oh, well, it has sparks with the eyes, like that, and I can't see, I'm blind." The Pope said, "I'm over here." Oh, he said, "What it look?" He said, "Well, don't worry, my son. In nomine Patris, Filii, Spiritus Sancti, Dominus Vobiscum." Beep, beep. Oh, he said, "I can see, thanks, your Pope." Went to the next lad, he said, "And what's the matter with you, my son?" Oh, he said, "He can't hear me, mate. He's mutton, he's deaf. Drums have gone." He said, "Don't worry, my son. Nomine Patris, Filii, Spiritus Sancti, Dominus Vobiscum. Dominus Spiritus." Beep, beep. Oh, he said, "I can hear." He said, "Can you see, Billy?" He said, "Yeah." Boat went to the scouser. He said, "Hang on, la, don't touch me. I'm on invalidity."
And when you were young, you needed a bit of guidance. The only guidance I had was my granddad and his best mate, Charlie. He wasn't a full shilling. 95 years of age, they put him in a nursing home because they couldn't handle him. He'd only been in 3 days and he bumped into this woman. He said, "I bet you can't guess how old I am." And she unzipped his trousers and she put her hand in and she went, she said, "You're 95. He said, "How marvellous. How do you know that?" She said, "You told me yesterday."
Now, because I mean, have you ever sat down with your kids or your grandkids and watched their rubbish? Because I've got 3 kids. I used to have 4, but at home one's an example, and it really works. They've been brilliant since, they really have. And I sit down and watch their programme. Have you ever seen a programme called Postman Pat? Hey, my kids have got the videos, my two little ones. They've got and I watch it with them. But I tell you what, it makes you think. I'm sure that Postman Pat is on the fiddle. He's on the rob, and I'll tell you why. Because postmen, they don't get a really big wage, really, postmen. And have you seen that van that he drives, his number plate, Pat 1? How can he afford that? And his van must stink because that cat's in it all day, isn't it? And have you noticed all the kids in the town look like Pat? I don't trust the big nose get me, I really don't, honestly. And who's seen Scooby-Doo more than once? And thought to yourself that Shaggy gets a raw deal? Because the big blonde fella, Fred was in charge, wasn't he, Fred? And he seemed to got all the nice gear, didn't he? Blue pants, white pullover, orange cravat. Always nicely turned out, wasn't he? And he'd be right gobby-get, wouldn't he? Right bossy. He'd be like that, right, here's the plan. Shaggy! Shag! What? This is the plan, you take the dog. What, the dog again? Yes, and the ugly bird with the glasses. That little fat bitch. Yes, yes. And have a look down that spooky hole down there. Me and Daphne, we'll check the bedrooms. Lift it up there. And I'll bleed smash his face in, won't you? And then there's that one that comes on a Sunday for the women and the kids. It's all about the Ingalls family and their trials and tribulations. Little house on the prairie. Don't they have some rotten luck, that family, eh? Every week they're in turmoil, aren't they? I'm going back years. Remember when Mary, the blonde one, was going blind? And at the very end of the programme, she got her sight back. And went deaf. That was unlucky, wasn't it? And then there was a scene, it all happened in the barn. In the barn there was the dad, Charles Ingle. With him was little Laura. The one with the teeth. The only girl who could eat an apple through a tennis racket. And the scene went something like this. Bit of acting for you now. Sorry, Laura. I've got to shoot Flicker.
Oh, no, Daddy. Don't shoot Flicker.
Sorry, Laura, I've got to shoot Flicker.
Please, Daddy, don't shoot Flicker.
I got to shoot Flicker.
Don't shoot Flicker.
I got to shoot. Don't shoot. I got to shoot. Don't shoot. Bang.
I wanted to shoot Flicker.
But what really gets right up my nose on television today is anything made by them Australians. Cell Block H, Neighbours, Home and Away, Young Doctors, Families, Flying Doctors, Country Practice. It's a load of nonsense, isn't it, lads? Isn't it, girls? Let's start with Neighbours, right? Neighbours is that bad, they have to put it on twice because you can't believe it the first time. And I'm convinced there's only 8 actors in the whole of Australia. Seriously. Because I was watching them Young Doctors the other afternoon at 3:30. And there's this fella having open heart surgery at 3:30, right? At 5:30, he's delivering the post to Neighbours. Now, that's his some recovery rate, that. And Cell Block H, what the hell was that all about? It was supposed to be a prison. But if you watched it very closely, when them gates shut, all the walls wobbled. Perhaps it was a Group 4 prisoner, or maybe it was. And can anybody explain to me the mathematics of Cell Block H? There was 8 women in prison, and they were pressing 8,000 blankets a night. Who were they for? And us comics, we've spent years taking the mickey out the poor Irish. Australians are far more mental than the Irishmen, and I'll prove it to you. You think about it, an Australian is an exceptionally strange person. He'll come up to you, he'll ask you the question, and then he'll answer it before you can answer it yourself. They come up to you, they go, "G'day, what's your favourite colour, blue?" Same with the women, "G'day, what's your name, Sheila?" "G'day, what's your favourite hobby, sport?" "G'day, what's your job, digger?" "G'day, what type of dog's that, dingo?" The crackers. But if that's not bad enough, 20 years ago, they tried to sell us a television programme about a kangaroo with a degree in physics. Who remembers Skippy? Anybody says I look like it and I'll kill you. Remember how Skippy used to go? Skippy used to start off every week, didn't it? Hail, rain or shine. Same 2 fellas, sitting on the same 2 deck chairs, fixing the same helicopter, on the same airstrip, and out of the bush would come Skippy. One of these fellas would get up out of his deck chair and go like that. "What's that, Skip? There's been a plane crash. 50 degrees west, 30 degrees south." He said, "Well, I tell you what, Skip, you go back to the plane crash, light a fire, and when we fix the helicopter, we'll come and look for you." And it cleared off. 5 minutes later, they come back through the bushes and went like that. And one of them said to the other one, "Oh, go on, lend him your lighter."
And then where did I finish up? Australia, mate. I went to... Has anybody ever been to Australia? I was there for 3 months. It's the most boring, farting place I've ever been in my bloody life. And 3 months is a long time, ladies and gentlemen, at the other side of the world when you're on your own. Do you know, in Australia, they have a little black snake. It's only that long. It lives in the grass, and it's the most venomous reptile on God's earth. If it bites you on the ankle, you are dead in 8 seconds. And when I'd been there for 3 weeks, I went looking for one. Because strange things happen in Australia, don't they? There was a woman lived on her own in Sydney. 35 years, never missed the Australian football pools, never won a penny. Then one week there was only 8 draws and she became a millionairess overnight. Would you like that, girls? Millionairess overnight. The next morning she got out of bed, the streets were outside her house, the police barriers, television cameras, reporters, people ringing the bell, bing bong. Well, she opened the door, she says, "What the bloody hell's going on here? Get off the grass, bugger off." There's the cameraman and he says, "Good day, good day. We are the Australian TV network. I understand you've won $1 million on the Australian pools. Is that right?" She said, "That's right. I've been doing them for 35 years, never won bugger all, but I'm rich now, so off the grass." He said, "Well, the great Australian public would like to know what you're going to do with the money." She says, "Well, I've lived on my own a great many years. I'm a bit of a spinster, really, darling. But now I'm rich, you watch me go, boy. I'm going to get me a man. I don't just want any man. I don't want any of Joan Collins' cast-offs. What I'd like is a male virgin. What I'd like is a toy boy who's never been with another woman." So they organised a search of Australia. They searched the whole of Australia for 3 months looking for a male virgin for this woman. Could they find one? Could they 4X? In desperation, they sent a team from the Australian SAS into the desert. 3 days later, they found this young guy living in a cave near Ayers Rock. He'd been there for years. He was half Aborigine, male virgin, brought up by the wolves. That's near Birmingham. And he was suntanned with living in the outdoors. He had long blonde hair, little loincloth around his centre. And they got him in a jeep and brought him all the way back to this woman's house and rang the bell. Bing bong. And when the door opened, she says, "What the hell? Who the bloody hell's he?" She says, "Good day, good day. Here he is, madam. We found him for you, the only male virgin left in Australia." She took one look at this virile youth with the suntan, the six-pack, and a lump in his loincloth. She says, "My prayers have been answered." She says, "Take him round the back. The neighbours are watching." Well, they got him in a bathtub, scrubbed him down, trimmed his hair, found him a suit, into a taxi, whoom, downtown. 1:30 they had a society wedding. The Co-op did it. They spent the early evening in a cordon bleu restaurant having a 15-course banquet, and then they went to the Sydney Hilton Hotel for their honeymoon night. And there they were at midnight in the bridal suite of the Sydney Hilton. Do not disturb on the door handle, champagne on ice, black pudding, pork scratching. And she sitting at the dressing table mirror getting ready for bed. The young Aborigine came out the bathroom with no clothes on. And he pushed her off the buffet, took the buffet and ran over to that corner with it, got the dressing table, put it over there, stood the bed up in this corner and started rolling the carpet up. She couldn't believe it. She says, "What the bloody hell are you doing with all the furniture?" He says, "Well, I ain't never been with a woman before. But if it's anything like a kangaroo, we're gonna need all the room we can get."
Rob Charles Videos for radio training and fun on YouTube.